Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode with your girl Audrey Codner from ACG Math Tutoring. So, what we're going to do today, we're actually going to do a general algebra review. So, if you are currently maybe in college algebra or getting ready for your GED, your ASVAB, your ACCUPLACER, maybe even your TEAS test or any of the nursing programs, maybe your IBEW if you're trying to be an electrician apprentice, anything that deals with algebra, this is the live for you. So what I'm basically doing is I have a whole series of algebraic problems, everything ranging from basic, looking at adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, maybe fractions, decimals, any of those sort, all the way up to rational functions. So how to break those concepts down and looking at factoring. So as you guys are coming on in, go ahead and tap the screen because we want to get as many people on the FYP so they can also enjoy this content as well. So as you guys are coming in, hey D Crazy, how are you? Welcome in. Connie, hello. Dr. Dorothy, what's going on? So we're just going to do like a quick little intro going in with everything and bet. So we're just going to see how we can expand. So I did some of this a little bit. I think it was either Friday. No, I lied. Saturday or Sunday this weekend. So I just wanted to continue on. Why waste good problems, right? So if you are coming in, hopefully you'll have some paper, some pencils. Go ahead and sign yourself in. Go ahead and tap yourself up. So right now we have 119 people. I lied. 141 people. Still growing. 160. All right. So as you guys are growing in, come on and tap away because I really want to officially get started roughly at the 1K mark. And we are going to basically be doing math for the next hour. So as you guys are coming in, let's get it going so we can get started. Okay, thanks for the fire, Coil. Hello, John. Hello, Gage. Hey, Big Al, how are you? Welcome back. So hopefully everyone's doing okay. Hey, Big Al, can I make you a moderator just in case? Because sometimes I see stuff, sometimes I don't. Hello, Jessica. Welcome on in. Okay. Thank y'all. All right. That should have worked. Hopefully it did. Okay. Yes, Erica, we are back. So as you guys are coming on in and saying your hellos and your thank yous and everything and your follows, make sure you guys are tapping away. We're a little less than halfway there. We're going to get started at 1K just so we can get everything up and moving and grooving so other people as well as yourselves. And if anything, there should be, if you guys can check in with the orange heart. If you want to check in with the orange heart, that will a friend told me that it will tell the algorithm that you are a real person. Okay. Also, you're not just sitting around, sitting and chilling. You're actually participating. You're actually getting a little active. So there is an orange heart. I think it's right next to my name. So if you want, go ahead and click on that so you can check yourselves in. All right. Well, hello, Charmaine. How are you? Hello, everyone. Okay. Hey, Maya. Hello, Mia. Hello, Naja. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of people putting a little things up. Is it Hatham? Welcome on in. Hey, Janice. How are you? Hope you're having a good day. So we got Drake. Oh, is it the Drake? Coming on in. All right. Okay, hello Laura, how are you? Hello my friend from the internet. Okay, so I'm seeing, okay, hey Nia, how are you? Okay, Jean-Paul, thank you so much. I'm doing okay. Doing okay. Thank you so much for the love and the flowers. And I'm slowing things up. All right, so I'm seeing a lot of different answers here, okay? So we are expanding 2x minus 3, okay? Not sure if you guys are getting a shadow. You are. We're done. This might make it a little bit better. Yes, just a tidge. It was a lot brighter, but this is what we got. Let's see. It's like the mood lighting over here. All right, there we go. All right, so I'm seeing a combination of D's, I'm seeing some B's, I'm seeing some C's, and I saw a couple A's. So basically, we got all over the place. Hello, Justin. How are you? Haven't seen you in a minute. How's things going? Okay, this girl loves kind of math, but forgot how to do it. Not a problem. That's why I'm here to break it down. Hello, Burly boy. Yup, in the jazz club, of course. All right. Thought about FOIL method too. All right, so we are thinking. So if we're expanding, what's inside the parenthesis is being raised to the second power. So like I think somebody was talking about FOIL method, very similar to that. So we have 2x minus 3, 2x minus 3. So basically what's inside that parenthesis, that is my base. Okay, let me unzoom just a tad bit so we can see everything. All right, so what's inside that parenthesis, that's my base. So we have to write out our base twice. Okay, so from here, we can do the distributive property. You can either do the FOIL method, you can do what's called distributive property, or you can do the box method. Okay, so either way, we need to get our correct answer. So right away, if I'm doing distributive, I'm doing 2x times 2x. That gives me 4x squared. Okay, 2 times 2 gives me 4. X times x gives me x squared. So which one can I eliminate? Just with that information, which one can I eliminate? So we got C, Lady K with C, Triple B saying C, Connie C, good. We can eliminate C, good. So eliminating C. So now let's continue on with our distribution. So now we're going to multiply 2x times negative 3. So 2x times negative 3, that gives me a negative 6x. Now we have to do the distribution of this negative 3 to everything in the second parenthesis. So negative 3 times 2, that also gives me a negative 6x. And negative 3 times negative 3, that gives me a positive 9. Now, before I even think about doing my simplifying, I notice at the end I got a positive 9. So because of that, I know I can get rid of A because they're saying my constant is a negative 9. And it's supposed to be a positive 9. So now, right here in the middle, and this is the reason why a lot of you guys said the answer is B. Watch. We have a negative 6x and a negative 6x. In order for these two to cancel out, one has to be positive and the other has to be negative. They're both the same sign. So when they're both the same sign, that means I'm adding them together and keeping the sign. You owe me $6. For some sick and twisted reason, I loaned you another $6. That means you owe me $12. And what happens to the plus 9? It comes down. And what happens to the 4x squared? That comes down. So my answer, ladies and gentlemen, should be D. Okay. Let me shrink up a little bit. Okay, so it should be D. Okay. All right. I'll take it, Burley. Okay. Okay, so right now, can I do it the other way? Sure. So, the other way, if I slide this over just to give myself a little bit of room. Okay, that was just the work that we did last time. If you have 2x minus 3 squared. Another way of breaking it on down. What you do is you're going to take your first term and you're going to square it. Then you're going to multiply these two together and multiply that by 2. So it's going to be 2 times 2x times negative 3. Then you're going to take your last term, which is the negative 3, and you're going to square that. Okay? Me personally, if you're in the beginning stages, this will be the way that I would love for you to go. Because right now, we just want to pass this test. But for the other stage, a little more advanced. If I have my 2x squared, that's going to give me 4x squared. Now I got 2 times 2, which gives me 4. 4 times negative 3 gives me a negative 12x plus negative 3 squared, which gives me 9. Notice you get the same exact answer. Okay. All right. So we have choices. And they need this. All right. So we have choices. Okay. So anytime we see something being squared inside the parenthesis, you can either write it out twice, or if you want to take the whole a little advanced trip, you can take the advanced trip. Square the first term, multiply these two, then multiply by 2. Then you square the last term, including the signage. Okay. All right. A little tough. Don't leave. Because here's my thing. We're going to have to face some of these. Have to face our fears a little bit, okay? Just give it a try. I'm not expecting you to be experts. I just want you to try your best. And if there's something that you don't know, ask a question, okay? That was brutal. Okay. Internet. Yep. I just look on the internet. All right. So 15. So which of the following numbers is the smallest? Is it A, negative 3/4, B, negative 3/2, C, negative 1, or D, negative 2/3? Okay, I'm seeing a little combination of D's and A's. Let me see if I can go back to the beginning. Okay, so Skylar said B. Maria Correa says A. Grace says B. Roy says B. So, it looks like a bat says B. Mia says B. My wave says B. Oh, thank you, Brian. Fear says B. Is that flawed? A. My black hole says B. User all that says B. Okay, Star Girl is it Indrax says B. Star Girl says -1. Jason B. Gabriel B. Mariah B. I'm scared. Don't be scared. B. Nay B. Way too easy. Okay. What's algebra? So we got some B's, we got some D's. I got a couple of A's, like Trish said A. Okay. Then we got some A's. People changing their minds. All right. I love how it says 200 new messages. So I'm seeing a combination of A's, B's, and C's. So basically all of them. Let's take a look. So now, if we can, there's a denominator of 4, denominator of 2, a whole number, basically an integer, and a denominator of 3. If we want, let's have what's called that common denominator. It'll be easy for us to do the comparison because then whatever has basically the smallest number is going to help us out. So if I'm looking at 4, 2, and 3, the -1 basically has a 1. Anytime it's a whole number, we can make it into a fraction. What number that you can find in the 4 times table, the 2 times table, and the 3 times table do they all have in common? Okay, KB's reading my mind. B, 12, 12, good, 12, series of 12, not 6, because 6 doesn't go into the 4. But we got our 12s, good. Other than 1, okay, we got our 12s. Excellent. So this is going to have a denominator of 12. This one's going to have a denominator of 12. This one we're going to change to a denominator of 12. Probably going to move that over a little bit so I got some room. And then D is also going to have a denominator of 12. So in order for me to change this 4 to a 12, I need to multiply it by 3, right? So if I multiply the denominator by 3, I got to multiply the numerator by 3. 3 times -3, this gives me a -9. Okay. To change this 2 to a 12, and we're always doing it through multiplication. So 2 times 6 will give me 12. Whatever I do in the denominator, I'm doing in the numerator. It's a negative, so it's a -3 times 6. That gives us a -18. Let me switch pens so it won't be too confusing. So now for C, we have to change that 1 to a 12. So that means I have to multiply it by 12. Whatever I do in the denominator, I do in the numerator. So -1 times 12 gives me -12. And lastly, to change this 3 to a 12, I have to multiply it by 4. -2 times 4, that gives me a -8. Notice all the numerators are negative. Okay, they have a common denominator, which makes it easy. -9, -18, -12, -8. Think of the number line. Yes, Jay. Yes. There you go. Now there you go, Hez. Where did the 12 come from? Because we needed a common denominator. So 4, 2, and 3, they all have 12 in common if you think of their multiplication table. Yep. So the lowest number, if you think of a number line, put it right here. Excluding the denominators. You have your -9 is up here somewhere. Your -12 is around here. -8 is here. And -18 somewhere around here. So the smallest of those numerators is going to be your -18. That's your smallest number. Remember, when it's a negative and it looks like a large number, it's a small value when it's a negative. answer choice B. Okay, answer choice B. Okay. Yep, all of them are negative. Okay, because we noticed we had negative 3/4, negative 3/2, -1, -2/3. So we want to get a common denominator with 4, 2, and 3. 12 will be your greatest common. Right. I know. It's okay. It's okay. But this is how we're going to learn. This is how you build up your confidence. If I may say, this is going to be the place where you want to make those mistakes and we make the adjustment. Okay? All right? Can you get extra credit on your quiz? So it's not based on the common denominator. Oh, no. It's based off of your numerators. Okay? And negatives. All right. Let's try number 16. Now, here's the thing, Cam. I know a lot of us are probably saying, why don't you just put it in the calculator and you get your answer? But this is really geared towards those that are taking, say, the GED, the ASVAT, the ACCUPLACER, IBEW exams, any of those standardized tests, because they can't use a calculator. So we're going to have to learn how to do some processing. Some people are really good with the math. Some people struggle with the math. So my whole thing, I like to work with the people that was, oh my God, I hate math. I will never do this. But they need to pass those exams in order to, which I always love to hear, in order to basically continue to do the job that they're doing. But they have to take this test in order to continue doing the job that they're doing. It's hilarious. But here we are. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm not doing any pre-calculus tonight. So sorry. Okay, so I'm seeing a combination of C's and A's. Okay, at least we got it down to 2. Okay, so I'm seeing some C's, a whole series of C's, and some A's. Okay. Okay. So, which of the following is the largest? Okay, got a couple of D's, but a lot of C's. Okay, it's A. Okay, so we're dealing with absolute values. Okay, with absolute values, remember, just like in parentheses, we always do what's inside the absolute values. Okay, now your absolute value is usually your distance away from 0. So if we take a look at A, we have 5 minus 2. 5 minus 2 gives me 3. And the absolute value of 3 is 3. Because when you're dealing with absolute values, the reason why it's positive is the distance away from 0. So now we have 2 minus 5. That gave us a -3. You're still 3 units away from 0. You may be going in the opposite direction, but you're going to be 3 units away from 0. So now here, -2 minus 5, that gives us a -7. And the absolute value of -7 is +7. And then for D, we can take what we got for A, which is 3. We can take what we got for B, right, which is 3. And last time I checked, 3 plus 3 gives me 6. So my largest is going to be C. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yep. Absolute values will never have a negative answer. Yes. Okay. All right. Number 17. So what do you get for number 17? So we're going to solve. Yep, the absolute value is always positive. Absolute value is not 0. Absolute value is never negative, so it's always positive. Yes, this is distance away from 0. Okay, so you're seeing a combination of A's. Okay. I do go live every day. Okay, so I'm seeing Trill blazing with the A, Yen with the A, Big Al with the A, Memo. Okay, that's why we're still stuck on that one. Jimmy with the A. Is it Gilbro with an A? When it comes to math, that's why I like watching you. Well, thank you, Melissa. I appreciate it. Not address it. It's crazy. Okay, we have our A. Louise is crying. Why are you crying? Right, why is it not -7/2 now? Okay, we're saying A, it's A. Okay, math teacher here. Well, thank you, Shayna. All right, Maria, I love this. Awesome. How to do this, I'm cooked. It's all right. Brain damage. Oh, don't worry. Okay, so we're going to take it step by step. Algebra, send her your way. Not a problem. Go ahead, DM me. All right, so let's take a look. So we have our 3. I'm probably going to put this off to the side. X minus 5 is less than or equal to x minus 8. Okay, so first thing that we can do, since we have another expression over here, we can't really do our shortcut of dividing 3. You could, but then you're going to be dealing with a lot of fractions. So why not just simplify it by distributing? 3 times x gives me 3x. 3 times -5 gives me -15. Bring down my less than or equal to and my x minus 8. Okay. So now we want to get our x's on one side. So right now I'm going to take this minus 15 and I'm going to add 15 to both sides. So -15 plus 15 will cancel out. Then I will have my 3x is less than or equal to x. And then we have what? Plus 9? Plus 8? Sorry. I'm way wrong. Plus 7. There we go. So now, really want to get my x's over. So I'm going to subtract this x. So my x's will cancel out here, which gives me a 0, but I don't need that placeholder because I still have 7 on that side of the inequality. 3x minus x gives me 2x. And I'm going to carry it up here so I can get myself a little bit of room. So let me slide over here. So we had our 2x is less than or equal to 7. Do we see why it's a positive 7? Because when you did negative 8 plus 15, 15 is larger. So it's almost like you have $15. You spent 8. You still have $7. That's a good thing. That's very positive. Okay? So that's why it's a positive 7, not a negative 7. Then we're going to divide both sides by 2. So we have x is less than or equal to 7/2. We do not need to flip the inequality. The reason why is this step right here. When you divide or multiply by a negative number, that's when you change the inequality sign. Okay, that's when you change the direction of the inequality. But since it was positive, just leave it right where it is. So that will give us the answer of A. And I can unzoom if you want to see. Okay. Well, if you add the 8, who asked that? AD Creations. When you add the 8 on both sides, that means you want to put your x's on the right side. You can do that, okay? You're just going to have to deal with the negative, and then you're going to have to flip the inequality sign. So since we generally read from left to right, that's why it's easier for us with inequalities to have your variable on the left-hand side. Okay, that's the reason. But you can add 8 on both sides, but then you're going to have to kind of flip things around because look at your answer choices. Your x's are all on the left-hand side. And when you add the 8, your x's are going to be on the right-hand side. Okay? Okay. So it's not wrong, but you're just going to have to flip it at the end. Or you're going to have to do some reversal at the end. Okay? Yep. And that's what we did over here. We already divided by 2, Shaq. And that's how we got our x is less than 7/2. I ran out of room, so I had to carry it over here. Okay. Not a problem. Thank you. Hello, Michael. Driving home? All right, well, thank you. Do I do geometry? Not on the lives. Mostly I do just algebra because there's not a whole lot of geometry in there. But do I tutor geometry? Yes. Do I tutor pre-calculus? Yes. Okay. Not a problem. All right. Let's try another one. Okay. Everyone's favorite, word problems. Everyone's like, no. I'm like, no, you're going to have to deal with it. Because here's my thing. Every exam, every single solitary exam that we have dealt with, SAT, ACT, GED, ASVAB, ACCUPLACER, all of those standardized exams. It is reading mixed with math, okay? A lot of it, especially the arithmetic reasoning part, you're definitely going to see a lot of word problems, okay? Do I do SAT work? I do. I tutor SAT as well. Okay, I do not do statistics. That's not my jam. All right, so I know it's going to be really small on my end, so you might have to expand your screen to see, but I'll try to read it. So a flower bed is in the shape of a triangle with one side twice the length of the short side, and the third side 15 feet longer than the shortest side. If the perimeter is 100 feet, and if x represents the length of the shortest side, find an equation to solve for the lengths of the 3 sides. Okay, didn't tell us what type of triangle, doesn't really matter, but we know that there is a triangle. Couple things that's jumping at us. One side is twice the length of the shortest side. Another thing that's jumping at us. The third side is 15 feet longer than the shortest side. Another thing that's jumping at us. The perimeter is 100 feet. And the other thing that's jumping at us, X represents the length of the shortest side. Now, are they asking us to do any solving? Okay. They're not asking us to do any solving. This is what they're asking us to do. Find an equation to solve for the lengths of the three sides. Now, take a look. Which ones can we eliminate based on the information that they gave us? Which ones can we eliminate? Because trust me, I'm going to tell you now, process of elimination is what's going to save you for all those examinations. All you guys that are currently taking college algebra, all you guys are taking GED and ASVAB and ACCUPLACER, all that's in there. Okay, so we have eliminate B and D. That's my trailblazer. Misread that. Not a problem. B and D. Good, Janice. You switched over. Okay, B and D. B and D. Delete B. Okay, many colleges that's kicking my ass. Not a problem. Hey, spread the French. We're all bilingual around here. Okay, or multilingual. All right, so A and C, or B and C. We're saying E and C, B and D, D, B and D. Good. We're getting rid of the B because it's saying is equal to 2x. If all three sides, and we're saying that the perimeter is 100 feet, that's what all the sides, that's what it's called. When you add up all the sides, it's going to equal what's called your perimeter. So it should equal 100. This one's not equal to 100, nor is D. So that's how we can do process elimination with that. So now we have A and C. Notice we haven't done any math, really. Actually, we are, because we're making a decision. We're doing process elimination. That is a form of math, so I need to correct my speech. But take a look here. It says one side is twice the length of the shortest side. If X is representing the shortest side, all right, so that's my 2X. Then we have 15 feet longer than the shortest side. So if it's 15 feet longer, that should be X plus 15, which we have, X plus 15. But what's missing here? This is representing one side. This is representing the other side. They're missing that third side. That's why your answer choice is A. Here's that one side represented. Here's the other side being represented. And here's the third side being represented. This one only shows two of the sides. A shows all three. Yep, so you were right. Okay? Okay? See, a lot of it is reading. Okay? A lot of it is reading when it gets down to these. Okay? Good. So we're not solving. They just want the equation. So once you get this, click it, bubble it, move on. Don't say, oh yeah, that was a tough question. No one cares. They just want the answer. Is it A? Is it B? Is it C? Or is it D? All right. Another one. Again, you might going to have to expand and condense your camera, but I'll try to read it to you. Okay. All right. Not a problem. Not a problem. If you need assistance outside, just let me know. Go ahead and check in. Make sure you guys are still tapping. And I know you're like, I really want to focus on this. All right. So, yep. Drawing that triangle. Yep. And writing it, that will help as well. So, if John has $50 more money than Mary, and you choose to represent John's amount of money as X, how should you represent Mary's amount of money in terms of X? I'll read it again. If John has $50 more money than Mary, and you choose to represent John's amount of money as X, how should you represent Mary's amount of money in terms of X? Is it X plus 50, X minus 50, 50 minus X, or 50 times X? Okay, so I'm seeing some B's, I'm seeing an E, I'm seeing X minus 50, we're saying B, which is guessing. To know the answer, I know, don't worry, it's coming. So we're saying B, we got B baby, we got BB, we have a D, we have a couple, well, same person with the C. Then we have Cassandra with an A, then we have weight, B, then we have a couple C's, a D, all of them, definitely not all of them, but that was cute. B B, okay, confuse yourself, all right, so we got some D's, all right, and yes, you're guessing, all right, so let's take a look. So if we said that John had $50 more money than Mary, we're basically saying John, all of this is being represented by X. So if John had $50 more money than Mary, so wouldn't Mary have less money than what John has, which is $50? So if it's less, it's not going to be plus, A is gone, and it's not multiplying, you're not making it bigger, D is gone. So now we have to figure out which is going to go first, the $50 minus X, or is it the X minus 50? So if John was $50 more than Mary, so that means Mary is going to be $50 less than John. And if we're saying John is X, your answer is going to be B. Okay, so your answer is going to be B. All right, let's go. All right, little hoorays, little celebrations. Okay, that's all right. Okay, all right. You got one, good job. I was wrong, that's all right. Okay, because the reason why it's not C, we're not saying that the $50, like John is X. John is supposed to be more, greater than what Mary is. This one, you're saying, oh, Mary's $50 is more than John. No, Mary doesn't have $50 more than John. John has $50 more than Mary. So Mary should be getting a lesser version, aka subtraction, not the inverse. Okay. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's give it a go. That was 19. So, as you're all coming around, before we get to the next part, just in case, you know, everyone has lives. Everyone's trying to get things together. If you can or you can't, I will be putting, if you go here and go here, you would actually see in a playlist that says TikTok Lives. So when you go to TikTok Lives, if you want, you can do all 5 of these. You will find all of my videos that I've done since February 2nd. So like some of you guys are like, I need help with polynomials. You can type in polynomials and you can see the live that I've done on adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing polynomials. If you need help with fractions, because we did fractions not too long ago, but I also did it again with mixed numbers and improper fractions, adding, subtracting, as well as multiplying and dividing. So if for some reason you need assistance and it's not during the live, you can take a look at the lives. Okay, took a look there. So you have all of that. Now, I'm going to take this off and if you want to screenshot it, you got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And as well, if you guys like what you're seeing, you're like, I think you can really help me with my college algebra because this is driving me crazy. I do have private and small group tutoring. Okay, so if there's other people in your class that you're like, maybe we can go in on a tutor, okay? That'll be great. It'll definitely have like a group rate as well. But if you're just getting started and you haven't like signed up for a class, I have a course and I'm going to start publicizing that a little bit more with the foundations of algebra. Everything from the types of numbers all the way up to rational functions, including probability and as well as a little bit of geometry with volume, area, and perimeter or circumference. So if anything, you can always go there. And if you want to take the shortcut, I can say, boom, that's where it is. Okay, so if you go there, you'll be able to come here, which is my blank. All right. So your other resources that you can get from me. All right. So if you definitely can. So if you want to take a screenshot of that, go ahead and take a screenshot of that. You can also message me here on TikTok. Even though like maybe we're not friends yet, but go ahead and message me. And because I always look at the request messages just in case. And please don't just say hi, like tell me what you're messaging, because all the ones that just say hi, I usually delete them because there's too many scammers on here. So I try to kick it out. All right. Okay. Okay. You have an exam on 24th. I think I pass it. Yep. I was a classroom teacher and I decided to skedaddle because I got tired of the meetings about the emails about the meetings, and giving up so much of my time and very little time to do what I love to do, which is teach. You know, the whole reason why I'm here, you know, filling out forms and all of a sudden next week, yeah, we're not doing those forms anymore. We're just going to do this. Okay, 1 minute you're threatening our lives saying that if you don't fill out this form, if you don't go to this meeting, and then all of a sudden a week later, oh yeah, we're not doing that curriculum anymore. We're doing another curriculum. Yeah, I got too much. Very tired of all that. Okay. Not really. Not that in deep. Not that depth. Mostly general probability and statistics, Bree. Okay. 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 So whenever you need assistance. So we got some D's. We got Portia with a D, Jen with a D, Big Al with a D, Slay, my Gray with a D, Bree. Okay. All right. Chili with a D. Wickedness, gal. Party wine with a D. Good. Have to have time. Or just square. No time to keep helping all of us. Oh, that'll be lovely. Okay, B has a D. Pickle with a D. Okay. Is that Shani? With a D. Oh, that's Janice with a D. Okay, Pretty Eyes. Hey, Pretty Eyes, Erica with a D. Okay, RB Hill with a D. Naz D. Mariana D. All series of D's. I love it. Okay, good. All right, so all we're doing is the distributive property. Okay, so we have our 2x and we're distributing, multiplying to everything inside the parenthesis. So we notice what my answer choice is. All of them start with 6x cubed. Perfect. So we can't get anything there. But then I notice if I multiply the 2x with the -3, I would get a -6x. So right away, this is out. Okay, because it's not giving me a -6x as C. So if I continue on, if I do 2x times -5x, that gives me -10x squared. I'm looking at A, that still gives me negative 5x. That means they didn't distribute. Here for the D, I got negative 10x squared. Boom, that's my answer. That's how you treat these type of exams. If you're currently in an algebra class, your teacher's going to want you to go all the way through. I'm sitting here showing you and you're not even saying it. Okay? But when you're taking these standardized tests, they only care about, did you pick A, B, C, or D? That's all they care about. So you're going to have to, one, take a look at your answer choice. Okay, all of them said 6x to the third power. Great, because when I distribute, that's exactly what I get. Then I can go here, 2x times negative 5x, that gives me negative 10x squared. I'm taking a look, the only ones that give me negative 10x squares are C and D. So boom, A and B could be done. Then I got 2x times negative 3. That gives me negative 6. That's a negative 3. That's my answer. Okay. You passed the test already? Awesome. Well, you still can always use math. There you go. Start off with this. Good. All right. Okay. Dividing. Well, the English portion, I do not do the English portion, chop and red. Well, remember, Dina, I'm not sure if you heard me earlier, that this is being recorded. So if you want, I'm just going to excuse me for a moment, guys. If you want, you can go here. You can go here and type in this to take you. And you'll see YouTube lives, not YouTube, TikTok lives. So you will just see like TikTok lives and you can just go there and all of my video recordings. So give me like a few hours because sometimes it takes forever for it to download. Okay. Yeah, not a problem. Okay. So I don't want you to starve your family. It's like, I got to get this math. Mama, we're hungry. Wasting away. Okay, not a problem. All right, so I'm seeing some C's. Okay, who needs this kind of math? Anybody that's trying to take any of those assessments that I've been talking about. Yep, not a problem. Okay. Okay, not a problem. We're homeschooling, he's deaf. Okay. All right, so we can go step by step. So, whole bunch of C's, got some B's. Let's take a look. All right. So, if we do the division, the whole numbers we're going to divide, but the exponents we're going to subtract. Anytime you don't see an exponent, it's assumed to be a 1. Okay, so let me zoom in on this. Okay, so right here, we have 14 divided by 7. That gives me my 2. And m squared divided by m to the first. That means 2 minus 1. That gives me 1. So right away, I have 2m. D, we can eliminate. Okay. D, why did I choose nursing? I don't know. That's what you wanted to do. You wanted to help people. So you have negative 28 divided by 7. That gives me a negative 4. And then I have 8 m's up here. Take 1 m out. That means I have 7 m's left. So the only thing that gives me negative 4m to the 7th is going to be B or C. A is out. So now I have a positive 7m divided by 7m. Anything divided by itself is just 1. Keep doing that to you guys. Sorry. Because usually I'm not this zoomed in. About here. There we go. Okay. So that's why we have our 2m. Normally, me personally, I would have put it in descending order, but here we are. So that's why your answer choice is B. Okay. Process of the elimination. It will help you. P-O-E. Process of elimination. Okay. There you go. Okay. All right. All right, let's go with this one. So now we're going into a little bit in depth with the factoring. Now, factoring, you're definitely going to need to know your multiplication facts. Hands down. All right. So we have what's called the trinomial. 12x to the 4th minus 20x to the 3rd plus 4x squared. And we want to know one factor. Well, thank you, 24. There are days I wonder. Okay, so I'm seeing some D's. I'm seeing an A. Got a couple of D's. Okay, so we need to factor out. Yep, so we got a B. Got an M with D. Different stages. All right. Thank you, Tara. Appreciate that. All right. Let's take a look. No, you're going with yes. Yep. Yeah, let me finish my live and then I got you, okay? All right. Yeah, I'm talking to a cat. Here we go. This is my story. All right. So now we have 12, 20, and 4. Okay? They all have a 4 in common. This has x to the 4th. That means there's like 4 x's there. There's 3 x's here. And there's 2 x's there. How many x's do they have in common? They have 2. Here's a shortcut for that. If they all have x's, always pick the x with the lowest exponent. Okay. Right? I know. Oh, definitely not. So, this is one of the factors. So in order to figure out what's left behind, we're going to take our original and we're going to divide it by our what's called the GCF, the greatest common factor. So if I do 12 divided by 4, that'll give me 3. And if I have 4 x's here, and remember when I divide, I'm actually subtracting. So if I start off with 4 and I take 2 x's away, that means there's 2 x's remaining. Okay? Just by doing that, I want to say my answer is going to be D. Because we don't see any 4x squares. And right now we're at 3x squared. And the only one that gives me 3x squared is D. But let's keep going. You don't keep going. If you're doing the GED, ASVAB, any of those tests, trust me, it's not that deep. As soon as you get one inkling, that is your answer. But we will continue on for those that like it. So negative 20 divided by 4, that gives me a negative 5. You get x to the 3rd. and here's x squared. So if you start out with 3x's, you take away 2x's, there is 1x left. And then your 4x squared divided by your 4x squared, anything divided by itself is 1. Okay. Okay. I know. Sharpie. Okay. All right. So it is going to be D. So remember, this is a timed assessment. So if you can build up your stamina, or if you get problems that you know early on, especially like say the ASVAB, they do it as a progression. So if you're doing well with the basic stuff, they'll amp it up a little bit. If you did well with the fractions and the decimals, they're going to amp it up to the exponents. Once they amp it up to the exponents, they're probably going to take you more into algebra. When all of a sudden, if you start seeing slope, equation of the line, then you start seeing some factoring. This is what people have been telling me. You start seeing some factoring. That means you're in the 40s and the 50s. Okay, if you start seeing system of equations, you're definitely in the 50s. You're like mid-range 50s. If you're seeing volume, that means you're in the 60s. So it's that type of progression. Okay, the better you are. And remember, the for the ASVAB is usually like a 31, especially if you're going into, I think, Air Force or Army, if I'm not mistaken. I definitely know Army is 31. You have to get on this in order to progress. All right. Okay. Now they want you to factor completely. How did I get 5x, not 5x squared? Because you have 3x's here, take away 2x's, you only have 1x remaining. Okay. To fill inside the parenthesis, you're subtracting your exponents, but you're dividing the whole numbers. Okay. Okay. So complete the square only happens when you're solving for x. We're not solving, we're simplifying. We're basically factoring. Okay. Yes, you add the exponents when you multiply. Okay. Okay, so I'm seeing some B's. Okay, Deanna's saying no A. You're locked in. It's B, trust. Okay, Joey. So Jen would B, Sam, Bam, B, J, B, Roz, B, Tarek, B, Andre, B, it's B, D, Sean, wait, it's B because it's negative, okay. Did I teach substitution elimination? Yep. Yep, that's also, I did that. You can also check at the channel. It's in here too. Yeah, that's what's called system of equations. Okay, so I'm seeing B and D, and I have a couple question marks. All right, got you, Janice. All right, so my leading coefficient is a 1. So that's telling me when it comes to factoring, I can split my x's. So now I need to think. What two numbers multiply will give me 36 and add together to give me negative 12? Okay. Sometimes I like to do an X or a cross. And what I do is I write my AC and I write my B. Okay. So my AC is going to be my 36 because my A is a 1 times my C, which is 36. rewrite my b, which is a negative 12. So what two numbers multiplied together will give me 36 and add together to give me a negative 12? Okay. Okay, so 12 plus 3 won't give me negative 12. Okay. Dinora, say negative 6. We got a couple sixes. We got negative 6. One's a positive 6. One's a negative 6. Both of them are negative 6. Here we go. So if I do this, let me take it over here. If I go negative 6 times 6, a negative times a positive will give me a negative 36. We're not looking for a negative 36. We're looking for a positive 36. If I do 6 times 6, yeah, that gives me 36. That works. But if I do 6 plus 6, that gives me a positive 12. We're looking for a negative 12. So the only way that this can work is if both of the 6's are negative. Because a negative times a negative gives me a positive. And a negative 6 plus a negative 6 will give me a negative 12. So we'll have our x minus 6, our x minus 6. And one of the factors, which both of them are the same, has to be b. Okay. Yep, so both of them have to be negative. All right. Okay. One more problem. All right, so sliding, because we're about to get into the factoring world. Ooh. 7x squared plus 14x minus 21. The multiply is always your constant, the one on the end. That will be your multiplying. The one in the middle is what adds together to give you that. Okay, I think that was for wet something. Okay. All right, good, Jess. Okay, so I'm seeing some C's from Brendan, C's for Darth, C's from Activist, I want to say, C from Dam, C for double X, D for double X, Faith has A, Sam has C, Be Happy, C, Hennessy, A, Faith is coming back to A, Pretty Eyes saying C. You're taking the paraprofessional tomorrow. Hop on the recap for me. Thanks. Not a problem, Destiny. Okay, Rose C. And I wish you luck. Actually, you don't need luck. You just go ahead and take it. Okay? Rose C. Nini C. Was that silly? Saying C. Rich Block C. Destiny D. Would you add the first two first? No. Not going to be combining with that. Hold on. Okay, I gotcha. O'Neill with an A. Faith with 7X. Korea. Saying C. Alba. Hey, Alba. Saying C. Joe is 7X, the second power. Together, the first two numbers together. Isn't the x the common denominator? There's no fractions. So we don't have to worry about common denominator. I think you're thinking of the greatest common factor. I think that's what it is. Yes. So the greatest common factor is not just 7. So let's take a look. We have 7x squared plus 14x minus 21. So all three terms have a 7 in common. So I can pull out the 7. I'm not going to put an x. The reason why, this has an x squared, this has an x, but this one doesn't have an x. Okay, last time that we did something like this was up here. The 12 had an x to the fourth, the 20 had x to the third, and the 4 had an x squared. So they all had an x involved. Whereas this time, we only just have the number 7. So if I divide each of these by 7, divide that by 7, that by 7, and that by 7. That's what's going inside of the parenthesis. So 7x squared divided by 7 just leaves me with x squared. 14, which is positive, divided by a positive 7, that gives me plus 2, and I bring down the x. And then negative 21 divided by 7, that gives me a negative 3. Okay. You always divide. Every time you get the GCF, in order for you to figure out what's going inside the parenthesis, you divide it by the original. Okay, that always happens when you're factoring. Factoring is basically like doing the distributive property in reverse. Okay, so before you probably get like the 7 and you were asked to distribute, to multiply, to get this answer. It's almost like Jeopardy. Like you have to answer the question. Your answer is the question. There we go. You got to do it in reverse. All right. Now, they're asking what one of the factors is. Notice we don't have it in our answers. So that means inside, because anytime they say factor completely, sometimes they give you a little hint that we need to break down this function here. Polynomial, I should say. Just like how we did the last one. So since my leading coefficient here is a 1, that means we got an x here and an x there. So now we need to think what two numbers multiplied together will give us a negative 3 and add together to give us a 2. So anytime we're factoring, we always, if we want to get what's inside here, we always divide by whatever your GCF is, which was out here. Yeah, it's okay. So we got, I have a negative 2, negative 1. I have a negative 3 and 1. Okay, we have 3 and 1. Okay, negative 3 and 1. No, it's positive 3 times negative 1. Okay, M's not sure. That's fine. We have negative 3 and 1. Okay, so let's take a look. Well, I think someone said 2 times 1. Well, first, 2 times 1 gives us a negative 2. We're in need of a negative 3, so that's not going to work. Let me switch pens. So then most of you said negative 3 times 1, which through multiplication, that does give me a negative 3. But if I do the negative 3 plus 1, does it give me 2? No, that gives me a negative 2. So we're still using the 3 and the 1, but the 3 is not going to carry the negative. It's actually going to be the 1. Because 3 times negative 1 gives me negative 3. 3 plus negative 1 gives me a positive 2. So these two factors here, that's what's going inside our parenthesis. So since it's a positive 3, we're going to put plus 3. And since it's a minus 1, we're going to do minus 1 or negative 1. Now, do not forget about your trifling but friend. Gotta bring that down. But then let's answer the question. So which of these is a factor? Because this is our answer after it's factored. Which of these factors is being represented? A, B, C, or D? Okay. So it was D. Okay. It's not going to be C because your 3 has to be positive. This one, it's negative. Now, I think it was wet. You're saying you're still confused because we didn't divide on the last one. We didn't have to divide on the last one because our leading coefficient was 1, but we did divide for this one. Okay, in order for us to get the 3, we had to divide everything by 4x squared. Because the 12 divided by 4, that's where the 3 came from. 4x to the 4th divided by x to the 2nd, that's where the x squared came from. Negative 20 divided by 4, that's where the negative 5 came from. And then x to the 3rd divided by x squared, that's where the x came from. And then 4x squared divided by 4x squared gave us our 1. Okay. Nope, this is Algebra 2. Algebra 1, Algebra 2. You might see it as a review in pre-calculus, just like the first, I want to say the first 3 weeks. They might make mention with it in pre-calculus. Okay. Okay. Praxis core. So you guys get a lot of basic math and word problems for the praxis. But this is definitely, well, this, I don't think it'll be in the praxis core stuff. But for the math, yeah, it's definitely in that one. AC stands for, it is the coefficient of your, actually, let me back up. So we have something called standard form. Standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. The a is always the coefficient of your x squared. Your b is always the coefficient of your x, and the c is your constant. So when it comes down to, let's see if I can find this. When it comes down to, say, this problem, when we had x squared, let me cover that for a second. We have x squared minus 12x plus 36. My a is going to be the 1 that's understood for the x squared, and my c is going to be the 36. So 1 times 36, that's what AC means. You're multiplying your a and your c together to get your 36. Right, you don't have to because it's 1. You just split your x's. When your leading coefficient is 1, you just go ahead and split your x's and go right to that. Okay. Yeah, everyone cares about getting the x by itself. Nothing like your mind. Okay. Why do you have a big x next to the equation? Well, the reason why I do this is to help me to figure out what two numbers multiply to give me 36 and add to get me b. It just helps me to find my factors. Some people like to use a table like a T table. I just use an X. Yep, we were just doing factoring today. All right, we're going to dive a little bit deeper with that. Okay. Starting with that, sure. Nope, we're not solving. We're just factoring. When you're factoring, if your original does not have an equal sign, you can't solve. Don't just throw an equal sign in there because, oh, I need to solve. No. When you're factoring, all you're doing is making things smaller. So say here, my original just said x squared minus 12x plus 36. There's no equal sign, so there's no solving. Same thing here. There's no equal sign, so we're not solving. All we're doing is factoring. Okay. Am I live every day? Yes, I am. So actually tomorrow, what is tomorrow? Tomorrow I will be on, I will be on early at 6:30 tomorrow. Yep, I'll be on at 6:30 tomorrow. So go ahead and follow. If you want to, hit the orange heart so you know when I go on. But also, I sometimes, if I have a cancellation, sometimes I just come earlier. Because I'm like, why am I sitting around? Okay. All right. You miss math classes? All right. Thanks so much. Okay. And also be on the lookout because I like to do what's called deep dives. And these are going to be like my paid events. And usually they're not going to be any more than $5. So then I'll go a little bit deeper with some of the things. Like it could be on factoring. It could be for college algebra. It could be a little more with ASVAB. A lot of the stuff on the ASVAB, like this stuff, is on the ASVAB. This is the factoring piece. So all this can actually blend in with the GED, the ASVAB, and all that. So stay tuned for those. All right. All right, you will. Okay, so again, I usually do notebooks and everything, but I just wanted to do a little bit of the algebra review for most of you guys. Again, if you guys need like one-to-one, or if you want to do small group services, I do have services. If you want to just do a course to really prepare you for it, if you're just like, hey, Audrey, I would love to get more tutoring from you, but my schedule is crazy because I'm a nurse right now, or I'm trying to become a nurse and trying to just fit everything in. You can get one of my self-paced courses, especially for my nurses, do the foundations of algebra. So I do have one for GED, one for ACCUPLACER, one for ASVAB. Okay, and then you can go here to sign up for those. And the best thing is to get it this month because right now it's at $147 for the courses. Starting October 1st, it's going right back up to my $197. So save a little bit of cashola. And I think that's about it. Is there any books you can recommend? Well, what are you trying to do? Okay, cool, Amanda. Nice. Yep, it was just the algebra review. Yep, the beginnings of algebra. There are a few textbooks out there. I haven't seen like a really good instructional one, except for, I hate to say, except for mine. Not to say I'm the bee's knees or anything. But a lot of them will just give you like tons of practice problems, but not that much explanation. So I've seen a lot of those workbooks. But if you really want to start from the very beginning, I think the foundations of algebra will be good for you. And I'm going to put a video out so you can kind of see what everything is involved in it. So that's coming soon. Okay. All right. Okay, good, Angela. All right. Just have to tweak. Good. Because 44, we can definitely move. We can definitely move in various directions. Yep, I give step-by-step instruction. The way that I teach the lives here is exactly what I do on the videos. And it's not like me and a group of people. It's me the whole time. And then plus you get practice problems as well as quizzes. just to assess to see where you're at. Okay. Okay, no problem. No problem. All right, everyone, I'm going to skedaddle. I have a couple minutes before my next person. So I hope you have a lovely evening. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I greatly appreciate it. And what I'll do is I'll see you guys tomorrow evening at 6:30. And we are probably going to be doing maybe some more of the factoring, because it seems like that was kind of throwing a lot of people off tonight. So I don't mind doing like the early stages of factoring when your leading coefficient is 1 and possibly when you have a GCF. Okay, I'm going to see if I can do both, but it might be just one. Okay. All right. Have a great night, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye now.